Hello everyone. Today we are going to see about web-safe fonts and units. My name is Anthony and I'm from Loyola College, Chennai. Okay, let's begin. So what are web-safe fonts? CSS3 has adopted font combination technology. In here, if the browser doesn't support the first font, then it tries for the next font and next fonts. The font family property should hold several font names as fallback system to ensure the maximum compatibility between browser operating system. If the browser does not support the first font, it tries the next font. Start with the font you want and end with the generic family to let the browser pick up a similar font in generic family if no other fonts are available. For example, in the paragraph P, the font family is defined as Times New Roman, then it's given as Times Serif, and we can give etc. etc. So it checks for the Times New Roman. If not available, then it checks for Times. Then if it's not available, then it goes for Serif. So these are the website fonts available in each family. In serif family, Georgia and Times New Roman. In sans serif family, Arial, Tahoma, and Verdina, etc. etc. Just because some fonts are safer than others does not mean that you should confine your designs to only web-safe fonts. Modern designs with CSS can also take advantage of web fonts to ensure consistent typography across operating systems. So what is typography? Web typography refers to the use of fonts on the World Wide Web. When HTML was first created, font faces and styles were controlled exclusively by setting of each web browser. There was no mechanism for individual web pages to control font display until Netscape introduced the font element in 1995, which was the standardized in HTML 3.2 specification. However, the font specified by the font element had to be installed on the user's computer or a fallback font. Such a browser's default sans serif or monospace font would be used. The first cascading style sheet specification was published in 1996 and provided the same capabilities. CSS2 specification was released in 1998 and attempted to improve the font selection process by adding font matching, synthesis and download also. These techniques did not gain much use and were removed in CSS2. However, Internet Explorer added support for font downloading feature in version 4.0, released in 1997. Font downloading was later included in CSS3 font module and has been implemented in Safari, Opera, and Mozilla Firefox also. This has subsequently increased interest in web typography as well as the use of font downloading. It does not mean that if the font is not available in the computer, you should go for say web-safe fonts. Most of the developers will use Google Fonts to incorporate their own typography without compromising with the available fonts. So these are about the web-safe fonts. What are units? CSS has several units for different units such as width, margin, padding, font size, border width, etc. Length indicates by using numerical value followed by length units such as pixel, dimension, etc. It does not allow the white spaces between numerical values and length units. Length units are divided as two types, relative units and absolute units. So what are relative units? A length is relatively each other's to another length property is called a relative length units. So what are absolute units? Absolute length units are fixed in relation to each other. They are highly dependent on the output medium, so are mainly useful when the output environment is known. The absolute units consist of physical units such as inches, centimeter, millimeter, points, PC, etc. The absolute units are millimeter, centimeter, inches, points, and pickup. But these units are not recommended to use. So where do we want to use a absolute pixel or when to use absolute length units? As I already told you, you should avoid using absolute units when your aim is to create a flexible and responsive site. However, they can be useful in components when you know you do not want to area to stretch. They can also be helpful in defining maximum and minimum to stop areas becoming too narrow or too wide. So this is how the absolute units and length should be used and does not use in responsive styles. Next, relative length. So what is relative unit? A relative unit gets sizing from something else. In the specification, relative length units are defined as EM, EX, CH and REM. These are font relative lengths. The specification also defines their percentage value, which is always related to another value. Using relative value means the things can scale up and down according to some other value. Percentage units. Is container directly inside the viewport within a width of 90% will always be 90% of the available width whether I am on a phone or high resolution display. If I have another container inside the first container with a width of 50%, it takes width of 50% the parent element and not the viewport. The font relative units EM, EX, CH and REM. The first of these units are most interest when it comes to the typography in your designs. The first REM and EM units, however, while referring to font sizes, can be very useful in creating flexible, scalable and designs. EX. The EX unit refers to X height of the font, typically the size of the letter X in that font. What is CH unit? The CH unit refers to width of the zero character in font for the element. So next, what is EM? Using EMs as a length unit layout and in particular in padding and margins can help to maintain a vertical rhythm. If a user resizes the text or you decide to make font size larger or smaller in your style sheet, the EM units will scale the proportionality of that font. The EM size is related to font size of the element in the question. This can make EMs like a tricky to use. If elements are nested or appear in different contexts in your document, you can find that text or element sized with EMs can appear much smaller or larger than you imagined. So what is REM? REM means root EM. Unit is the font size of the root element, which is usually the HTML element, as with EM. You can use the value of as length unit and it always remains related to the root element. You don't get the nesting issue as we saw with EM. This makes it easier for you to set size related to font size declared on the root element, no matter what context the element is in. The browser support for REM unit is good unless you need to support Internet Explorer 8. What can you do, however, is declare the font size in pixels and then immediately afterwards in REMs. In Internet Explorer 8, we'll see the pixel value and use that. Ignoring the REM value, it doesn't understand. The CSS cascade then takes effect for other browsers and they use the last value declared, which is REM value. So what is the difference between absolute units and relative units? The absolute units length are fixed, whereas the relative unit lengths are adjustable to the size of the screen and the compact of the mobile we are using. So that's all about the units and web safe font as right now. Session. Thank you all.